It's time to pack your bags, bring some snacks, and hit the road. Syracuse football began a 3-game stretch away from home on Saturday. The 'Cuse took on undefeated North Carolina. Let's just say the Tar Heels are as advertised.
Jack, Dino Babers and company weren't the only kind of football in the Tar Heel state. Syracuse men's soccer traveled to North Carolina for a top 20 fight Friday. Winless against ranked foes so far, was Tobacco Road the site for a turnaround?
Ian, you feel that? I think it's getting chilly. That's because it's hockey season, baby. Syracuse dropped the puck at home for the first time in 2023. Find out how the Orange fared in their home opening weekend. We'll tell you all about it. It's on the bench and it starts right now. Hey everybody, thank you so much for joining us in our Citrus TV studio. Alongside Ian Nicholas, I'm Jack Gordon. Ian, you had a heck of a drive to get here, huh? You just drove the car and started the show. What the heck's going on?
Well, my roommate drove the car, so shout out to him. 4 hours there, 4 hours back, only one night home, but it was a beautiful night home.
Well, I hope you enjoyed your weekend. I'm sure you caught the game on Saturday, Syracuse?
Unfortunately, I happened to, yes.
Yeah, we're going to have to get into that a little bit. Well, unfortunately, before this weekend, after a disappointing homecoming loss to Clemson last week, Syracuse had an opportunity to bounce back this Saturday. Easier said than done, right? The new big man on campus in the ACC, undefeated North Carolina, showed no mercy to the Orange. It was down in beautiful sunny Chapel Hill. 4-0 undefeated number 14 North Carolina. Dino Babers leads his guys into Kenan Stadium right off the bat. There's Ben Kiernan, gets a punt block from Dennis Jacquez Jr., gets the mitts on it, but the former rugby player Kiernan from Ireland takes it for a first down. Later on in that drive, UNC capitalizes with a field goal. Here's Drake May from the 1-yard line later in the first quarter, sneaks it in for a touchdown. This Drake May guy, he's a familiar name. You might not want to forget him. Tosses an absolute dime to Bryson Nesbitt. Ian, that was beautiful.
And you see those stats, video game-like numbers for a guy who is top 10 in Heisman voting. He's got everybody amped up.
442 yards. Here's a big chunk of them. Nate McCollum with a 48-yard catch, another dime from May. They get right to the goal line. Fake handoff, little pitch play to John Copenhaver. Was that Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce?
Close enough.
Well, they put up another field goal to end the half. 27-0. It's a bludgeoning. We're going to have to fix this one in the locker room, right? Garrett Schrader, the rest of the offense, they might have talked some things over, drew up a decent halftime plan. Here's a beautiful throw to Umari Hatchery. Lays out with a defender draped all over him. 34 yards. They get right to the goal line. LaQuint Allen, he punches it in. You can't keep this guy out of the end zone. He's been incredible.
Yeah, he was unfortunately the only incredible thing that day.
Well, another incredible thing. How about this catch from Kobe Paysour? Off the pinky finger into his hands. Takes it all the way to the house. 77-yard touchdown run. Now the Orange, they look dead to rights at this point. The Chapel Hill faithful just loves it. The SU offense gets back out there. One last shot maybe, right? Nope. Elijah Huzzy picks off Garrett Schrader. It's 37-7 at this point in the third quarter. They put the backups in. Carlos Del Rio Wilson, he gets picked off. It's an interception party for North Carolina, a 40-7 victory. So Syracuse ran into a buzzsaw in this one, that's for sure. Drake May and the UNC offense put up an unreal performance. Our reporter Braden Reed breaks it down for us.
They say perfect offense beats perfect defense, and while the defense for Syracuse tonight was far from it, the offense for North Carolina was pretty darn close. The Tar Heels put up close to 650 yards of total offense en route to a 40-7 win over Syracuse down here in Chapel Hill. They were led by quarterback Drake May, potential Heisman candidate, first-round pick in this upcoming NFL draft, threw for close to 450 yards and 3 touchdowns in the win. After the game, Syracuse head coach Dino Babers was mesmerized by the quarterback's performance.
Sheesh. I mean, pick something. He used his legs. He got down and kept himself protected. Took off. When we played zone, he was on the money. And then on his deep balls, he didn't overthrow anybody, gave everybody a chance. That's a draftable, high draftable quarterback. We said it coming in. I still feel that way.
Now, this game, of course, wasn't without its drama. In the first quarter, Syracuse blocks a North Carolina punt. The Tar Heel punter picks the ball up, tries to run for the first down, gets knocked out very close. They say he did make the line to gain. Dino Babers vehemently disagreeing. He was out on the field. The officials go back and review it. They said he did pick up the first down. Dino Babers, like I said, very much disagreed. After the game, he maintained that position.
And I said, you guys, he did not make the 42. And they said, Coach, well, we reviewed it. And I said, well, I'm going to challenge it anyway. And they said, Coach, we've already reviewed it. And I said, I want to challenge it anyway. I want it in the record that I challenged that didn't make the 42-yard line.
Now, the road ahead does not get any easier for Syracuse. They go from one ranked opponent to another in Tallahassee next weekend. The Orange will take on number 5 Florida State. Kick time that one will either be noon or 7:30. Reporting in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Braden Reed, Citrus TV.
Well, Braden hit the nail on the head. This was a historically bad defensive performance by the Orange. It's the 9th most yards allowed in a game by Syracuse ever. Ian, I know a lot went wrong, but what was the most glaring issue on defense?
Everything, because when Drake May was pressured, he made plays. When he wasn't pressured, the receivers were wide open. I'm going to use the jump man himself, Michael Jordan, to tell you just how bad this was. 23 first downs in the first half for UNC. Syracuse ran 22 plays, and May completed 23 of 35 passes, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, and all of that was before halftime, Jack.
Well, Drake May didn't help Syracuse at all. Syracuse football didn't have much luck in the Tar Heel State. But it wasn't the only team down in Chapel Hill. SU men's soccer went toe-to-toe, or heel-to-heel, get it? With UNC on Friday. Plus, Syracuse women's soccer was in action last week. After the break, we're hitting the pitch, and you don't want to miss it, so stick around. We'll be right back.
Come on, it's not that hard.
My big man fingers are having a problem with these little tiny buttons.
Whoa, watch it there. Your blood pressure's gonna go through the roof.
Tell me about it. I'm trying to learn how to get it down. Instead, it keeps going up.
High blood pressure can increase the risk for heart attack or stroke. Learn how to keep yours at a healthy range.
Ever hear a voice command? Just say text barbershop to 97779.
That's not what I said.
Just give me that. Now my blood pressure's up.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Thank you so much for joining us. We're back on the bench in our Citrus TV studio. That's Ian Nicholas. I'm Jack Gordon. Ian, we're talking a lot of North Carolina today, not just football, but men's soccer. I know you've taken a trip or two there. What do you think of the Tar Heel State?
Oh, I love it. Charlotte's cool, but Chapel Hill's better. Franklin Street, no offense, Marshall Street, blows it out of the water. It's beautiful.
When I was there this weekend, it's like they have 5 Marshall Streets, if not 10, on just
Maybe
Franklin
100.
Street alone.
There's everything you could ever want.
That's just too many. Come on, that's just too many. You need to stop.
I like to be greedy. I like to be greedy.
I know you do. Well, it's been an interesting season for Syracuse men's soccer. Expectations have been sky high after last year's national championship. The Orange have 3 ties against ranked opponents and losses to Cornell and Duke. The Cuse was without that signature win until this weekend. It was Friday night in Chapel Hill. No, we're not headed to the Dean Dome. It's Dorrance Field for SU and UNC. Early in the first half, a tremendous chance. Nicholas Kolokian with the cross to Giorgio Kaczewski. Syracuse native just couldn't send it home. Later on, Kaczewski gets another chance. He's on the corner, and Booster Schoberg gets his head on it. Knock, knock, who's there? Carolina defense just says, come on in.
Well, the Orange are so good on set pieces. 9 of our 19 goals on set pieces this year.
Now, late in the second half, SU with another chance. There's Lorenzo Baselli. He couldn't send it home. Clock is ticking now. Not much time for North Carolina. Quenzi Ehrman finds Martin Vitchian, rips a shot, Jaheim Wickham. Oh my God, not in my house.
Only his 3rd ever start, and the sophomore looks like a veteran.
One last chance for the Heels. Wickham's right there again. Get to know that name. Jaheim Wickham's been incredible. Number 18 Syracuse takes down number 13 North Carolina. The Orange claim their first ranked win of the season. Now, Ian, I'm sure you love being, I just love being close to you on the desk, but 5 one-goal games, that's a whole new kind of close.
I know, but you got to prove you can win these games early on in the season because, again, this was a national championship team last year, but a lot of new pieces. They have to learn how to win close, and they figured out how to win close against North Carolina. Now, while matches have been tight on the men's side, the same can't be said for Syracuse women's soccer. Headed into Thursday's tussle with Wake Forest, SU had been outscored by 8 in its previous 2. But the result before that, just a 1-goal loss to a ranked ACC rival in Florida State. This was also a ranked ACC rival, number 17, Wake Forest, a 1-loss team that wasn't playing like a 1-loss team early on. 28th minute, Aaron Fleury, off the assist from Hannah Pelley, picks her spot and scores. It's 1-0 SU after the takeaway from Wake. But they're going to add on to that lead. 42nd minute, it's Anna Rupert with the cross to Rhea James. 2-0. Is Syracuse going to pull off its first-ranked win since 1991? 2001, rather. I'm getting ahead of the gun. 57th minute, Anna Swanson is going to be the recipient out of nowhere after Nakia Small hits the deck. She cuts the deficit to 1, and the Deeks kept going.
Ian, they just could not stop. I mean, the Syracuse team, they don't have the depth to hold on for so long, just riddled with injuries. It's really tough to hang on late in games.
It's also tough when there's just so much crazy stuff going on in front of the cage. Hannah Johnson cleans it up, gets right past Shea Vanderbosch. A 2-2 draw, the result. Hudson Ridley takes us through the emotions of this one.
It's been 22 years since Syracuse women's soccer took home a ranked win. Today they had a chance against number 17 in the nation, Wake Forest, to finally get that done. At the half, it looked pretty promising. A 2-0 score in favor of SU, but in the back half, the wheels fell off. A 2-2 tie, the final result. Despite this disappointing tie, Nikki Thrasher-Adams still felt good about where the squad was today.
I was really proud of my team. We stuck to the game plan. We'll take this as a point in the ACC League. It's the best conference in women's soccer, and to get any point, especially in the situation we're in, is pretty damn good.
This may sound cliche, but it's true. This really was a tale of two halves. In the first half, SU was just outshot 6-3, but fast forward to the second half, a whopping 18-0. That was due in large part to the amount of injuries that the Orange sustained. Forward Aaron Fleury acknowledged that.
I think it's just for my teammates and stuff, I think we all really want it and we wanted to get a result tonight, so it's every game. We might not have the most amount of players as any other team, but we have a lot of heart, so.
SU is still in search of its first ACC win since September 25th of last year. The Orange will get another bite at the apple and a break from ranked play when they travel to face Louisville on Sunday. Hudson Ridley, CitrusTV.
It's been a whole world of trouble for Syracuse to grab a conference win. The ACC has 6 teams in the top 25, but not every squad is in the conference that's a world beater. The Cuse had an opportunity against another 2-win squad in Louisville on Sunday, but just like all season long, the Orange couldn't capitalize. Now, if you take a look at how Syracuse stacks up against the ACC, Ian, they just don't have the talent to make it happen.
They don't. You see the word at the top of your screen, coinophobia. Now, what does that mean? I had to Google it this morning.
Enlighten me.
The fear of living an ordinary life. And I'll be honest with you, Jack, it's been another ordinary season for Syracuse women's soccer. They're slated to finish bottom 3 in the ACC for the 8th season in a row. And the bad part is it doesn't get any easier. You got a road trip now to play North Carolina. You play number 1 UNC on Sunday. We'll take break number 2 before talking about 2 sports. One on turf, one on ice. As they say in hockey, let's do that hockey on the other side.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Here's to the straggly ones. The first ones. But hey, I look good with this ones. The black, brown, red, and gray ones. The itchy ones. The ones grown by Dad. The ones grown for Dad. The I nearly didn't do it this year ones. And the absolutely filthy ones. They all raise awareness, raise funds, start conversations, and save lives. Because whatever you grow will save a bro. Learn more at Movember.com.
On the Bench rolls on from our CitrusTV studio. Ian Nicholas alongside Jack Gordon. Jack, you're a senior, you're a Syracuse native, you go to Syracuse University, but I'm just curious, 4 years ago, how did the college visit process go for you?
Well, Ian, would it be surprising to you if I only applied to one school?
A little bit. That's risky.
I only visited two. One of them was right here. I only applied to Syracuse, and it made it pretty easy for me.
I visited none, and I ended up here. Just a blind leap of faith. But you know what? I give credit to Syracuse field hockey because they took a campus visit to Harvard 9 days ago. They got rejected. Only a week later, SU applied to another Ivy League school with a 4% acceptance rate, and that was Princeton, where the Orange proved the Crimson are more prestigious than the Tigers. Going over to Central New Jersey, where the Orange, they got upset early on last season, but they ended up ending Princeton's season a year ago in the NCAA tournament. A player who wasn't a part of all of that, though, Pika Vandepas. She steals this ball in the midfield late in the first half, still scoreless, sends it to her fellow Hollander, Amber Kohlberg, in the circle, and the freshman has her stick held down. That means it's time for a penalty stroke. That means it's time for Eka van de Nieuwenhof. Princeton knows this story all too well. Van de Nieuwenhof made her first ever penalty stroke in that tourney game against the Tigers a year ago. You know what's going to happen. It's going to go in. Left and low. The keeper guessed right, and she still couldn't stop it. Third penalty stroke goal for Van de Nieuwenhof in the last 3 games alone. How about a penalty corner? Willemijn Bogert, the insert. Charlotte DeVries finds Bogert, and she goes 5-hole for the score. 2-0, the final score. There's a reason why this team leads the conference in corner opportunities, Jack. It's because it has one of the best scorers in the conference in Eka van de Nieuwenhof, who's only getting better.
I know, Ian. I mean, just looking year to year, she's gotten so much better this season. She's an accurate shooter, and she's such a threat for every single defense she's faced. Van de Nieuwenhof has just proved she might just be the best player in the ACC. Now, the Orange are off to a great start, but they haven't faced the likes of North Carolina. UNC has won 4 of the last 5 national championships. That was under the leadership of Karen Shelton. Now, the greatest player in NCAA history runs that program, Aaron Matson. Our field hockey beat reporter Max Gifford tells us all about the new coach.
When asking who the greatest player to come out of the University of North Carolina is, the answers may vary, whether it's Michael Jordan and his majestic slam dunks, Mia Hamm's goal-scoring artistry, or Lawrence Taylor's disruptive sacks. However, none of these student-athletes may have quite the credentials as 23-year-old Aaron Matson. Less than a year ago, Matson was playing her 5th year of field hockey at UNC before graduating at the culmination of the season. Just like Jordan and Phil Jackson's last dance, Matson's last game would end a 42-season tenure for head coach Karen Shelton. Before her 2022 campaign even began, the then 22-year-old had one idea in mind: to become the next to lead the most successful program in NCAA history.
I went to our athletic director in August before the season, and I said I want this job, with a plan in place and thoughts at hand, and expressed how much I wanted it. And he said, okay, go win a national championship with your team and then we'll talk. I guess the rest is history.
And the Carolina Tar Heels have completed their 10th unprecedented national championship.
For Matson, history never looked like history when she was living through it. A national championship in her 5th season was just the tip of the iceberg for the forward's storied career. The Chatsford, Pennsylvania product is the most decorated player in program history and one of the all-time greats to ever play the sport. Matson grew up wearing the jersey number 1 because that number was often on the smallest jersey, and she was often the youngest and smallest among her teammates. But with that short stature came tall ambitions for the month-old graduate. But nobody made the transition smoother for her than her predecessor.
She's the best mentor. She's obviously the most successful to ever do it. I couldn't do it without her. She had a huge impact on my career and me as a person and everything.
This past January, Matson was named the 5th head coach of UNC field hockey and is now the youngest coach in all of Division I athletics. For 21 Tar Heel players, their former captain is now called coach. And while Matson occasionally pines for her old playing days, many of her former teammates have embraced this unprecedented hire.
I think, I had their support from the start, and the big question was not the X's and O's or the love for Carolina. It was, okay, are these guys going to respect the boundaries? Are they going to understand what it means? They're responding great to it. They show up with great attitudes. And I just really bought into being a part of the journey and doing something that's never been done before.
The Matson era for UNC has seen a quintessential changing of the guard. North Carolina has consistently held the top 3 spots in the national rankings all season long. And after tearing up Coyne Stadium for years with over 20 career points against Syracuse, the now head coach, Erin Matson, watches the game from a different point of view, right here on this sideline, when her number 3 Tar Heels come to play the 13th ranked Orange this Friday, where another hurdle in the quest for a 5th straight national championship looms. Reporting from Coyne Stadium, I'm Max Gifford, Citrus TV.
What a big tilt Friday, Max. Thanks so much. Jack, could you imagine leading a program at 23?
And I'm only around a year away from that. I would have no shot.
Sorry, I didn't want to drop reality on you there.
You're
but
making me feel old again.
Hey,
Don't do this to me.
Erin Matson just makes everyone feel, I don't know, old, I guess. On the ice, though, Syracuse hockey coach Brittany Smith is young, but she's not Erin Matson young. She's 34 years old, beginning her 2nd season at the helm, picked up the road sweep of Post to start the season. SU skipper could improve on the best start in program history when hosting Merrimack this weekend. And the Warriors actually the first team that Smith beat in charge of the Orange last fall. But if you think Erin Matson's young, what about how Celine Teneby is old? She's 24, still playing college hockey. She's on the Swedish national team, and she puts the Warriors up 1-0 late in the first period. It's a lead they would keep all the way into the middle of the third. Power play opportunity, the All-America Sarah Thompson scores. It's tied at 1. We got to go to an extra period. Allie Kelly did everything she could in this game to deflect one shot, but can't deflect this one. Alex Ferguson, the game-winning goal on the net mouth scramble. 2-1 Merrimack in Game 1, despite 56 saves, second most in program history in a single game for Kelly. We go to Game 2 on Saturday from Tennessee. Merrimack trying to pick up their 3rd win in a row. Syracuse trying to stay above 500, but more of the same early on from the Warriors. Mary Edmonds, right place, right time. They go up 1-0 halfway through the first period. Deja vu halfway through the second period. Riley Horlock, her first collegiate goal off an SU turnover on the blue line. Usually not a good thing. And after that, it was just stat padding. A bad beat, if you will. 2 goals in the final minute, both empty netters, because Allie Kelly would have saved them probably. Allison Reeb with 1 of the goals, and Alex Ferguson, who had the game winner in Game 1, adds 1 more as the Warriors knock off the Orange, spoil their homecoming. And despite the unbelievable efforts, Jack, of Kelly, the St. Anselm transfer, you see it up there. Syracuse swept, but not because of her play.
I mean, how quickly can you cement yourself as one of the best in program history, right? She's only been here for a few months, and she showed that she can lead this team. Now, 2 losses, not great to Merrimack, but they did get the 2 wins over Post. She certainly helped out in that regard. Allie Kelly, a name you're going to want to remember for the rest of the season.
Kelly picking up right where Ariel DeSmet, a name that Syracuse hockey fans know and love, was over the last few seasons. Not easy shoes to fill. And because of her great work, Kelly's been named CHA Goaltender of the Week twice in a row. But is she an OTB Performer of the Week? Or does one of the transfer's 84 weekend saves sneak into on the bench's top plays? Stick around. Find out when we return.
Happy hour, he recognized a sign. Not from the gods or a bolt of lightning, but from a double heart, a kissy face, and a 4th ha in ha ha ha. That's when Jordan knew he was buzzed. So when it was time to go, he got a ride home instead of driving. Be a legend like Jordan. Recognize your buzzed warning signs and get a ride home. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
Hey everybody, welcome back into On the Bench. That's Ian Nicholas. I'm Jack Gordon. Ian, we've been talking a lot about teams, but we can talk about individuals now, right? There is an I in Ian.
There's Nye and Ian. Ian is not a good team player, but these players are really good for their teams.
Time to give you our top performers of the week. Now, although Syracuse volleyball is going through it right now, Charlene Antonio still stands out. She's been incredible this season, coming in at number 3 for us. She had 9 kills against Virginia Tech. 12 kills against Wake Forest. She is just easily the best hitter on this team. Now, Antonio leads the struggling squad with 137 kills, and she's done it in 2 less matches.
And it's really impressive because, again, getting it done on a struggling team. And unfortunately, we're going to stick on the struggle bus here because there's another player who is dominating on a team that hasn't won in its last 10, and that is Erin Fleury. Fleury had the first goal and also had an assist in the match against Wake Forest this week and really kept Syracuse in the Louisville game early on, had 3 of their 4 first-half shots. Plain and simple, this team runs through Fleury. She's accounted for 1/3 of the goals this season. And again, super impressive because there's really no one out there to support her.
Now, we're going to take that struggle bus all the way over to the ice. Syracuse women's ice hockey, they didn't do too well against Merrimack like you talked about, Ian. 2 losses, but Allie Kelly made sure to shine in those 2 games. Now, you had to have seen it coming. 56 saves on Game 1 Friday. That's the 2nd most in program history for a single game. Now, replacing Ariel DeSmet, not an easy task, but she did the best she could. 84 saves in the weekend. She was incredible.
She was sensational, and that's a tough Merrimack team. She's going to have to continue to play this way all season long for Brittany Smith if they want to compete. You can't compete if you make a couple highlight plays, right? You need a little selfishness. You need to go out there and say, I can make a great play, right?
Now, what was that thing you said, Ian? Did you say highlight plays?
Highlight plays, top plays, whatever you want to call them. It's on the bench. You know what you're getting. Top plays of the week. We start number 5. We go back down to Chapel Hill, Syracuse, and UNC men's soccer. Giorgio Kaczewski, the corner. Booster Schoberg, the header. And it's his first goal with Syracuse in 3 years. But what is his celebration? He's looking like the 2-man in front of the gas station. Also, what are you doing, Parker O'Farrell? You were right there on the back post. You could have stopped it, but it went in.
Well, sometimes there is just no stopping it. That's what happened with Umari Hatcher. The UNC defense did all they could, but on this heave from Garrett Schrader, Hatcher snags this one. He lays out, catches it backwards, 34 yards on that catch. He had a day, 6 catches, 85 yards. Way to go, Umari Hatcher.
Way to go. Positive re-encouragement. It always helps. And you got to give some positive re-encouragement to this volleyball team, right? Because they haven't won in the ACC, but they did pick up their first set win in 3 games against Wake Forest on Sunday. And it's 1, 2, Charlene Antonio 3, one of her 12 kills on the game. She had a team high 12 kills, but it didn't help her team win. Wake Forest did win in 4 sets.
Well, in another game that wasn't won, here's Anna Rupert, our top play number 2 in the 74th minute, trying to bring her squad back. She rips this one from deep. Look at the little cutback lefty shot off the goalie into the back of the net. That's her 2nd goal of the season. We had to slow it down for you. Look at this one, a nice snipe in the top corner.
Well, that was bad goalie play, or at least not perfect goalie play. Let's show you what perfect goalie play looks like. We go back down to Chapel Hill, 88th minute. Syracuse trying to protect that 1-0 lead. Sam Williams, nobody wants to pick him up. And then Jaheim Wickham says, I got you guys. He does full Superman extension of a far post. Only his 3rd career start, his 4th and most critical save of the game. Sensational. He's taken over at goalie over this last week, and he's already got 2 clean sheets, Jack.
All right, Ian, best goalie of the weekend, Jaheim Wickham or Allie Kelly? You got to pick.
Oh, come on. I'm going to say Wickham because at least he did it in a win, right? No disrespect to Kelly. She can't shoot the ball. She can't shoot the puck. What am I talking about? It's Wickham easily.
Good call. Well, that's all the time we have for you today. That's Ian Nicholas. He picked Jaheim Wickham. Good take, right? I'm Jack Gordon. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll leave you with our images of the week.
After last week's homecoming loss to Clemson, the Orange ditched the distractions and hit the road. In the first of 3 games away from the Dome, Syracuse takes on undefeated number 14.
It always comes down to the same thing. We got to fight.
Hands off to Allen. He wants 6. They give it to him.